Part 5: The Neurobiology of Coherence. Why some societies feel sane and others feel incoherent. If Part 1 to 4 map the sociological and linguistic layers of synchronization, Part 5 enters the biological engine itself. The core thesis: societies do not think first, they regulate fear first, and the mode of fear regulation determine the mode of synchronization. Every culture runs on one of the two neurobiological operating systems. 1. Trust mode versus threat mode. The two civilizational brain state. Trust mode, coherence, low threat, high oxytocin, smooth social perception, predictable behavior. In trust mode, people read intentions accurately. Communication stabilizes. Disagreement does not imply danger. Honesty becomes metabolically cheap. Institutions can carry cognitive load. Cooperation becomes rational, not heroic. This is coherence, a state where emotion and logic reinforce each other rather than fight each other. 2. Threat mode, incoherence. High threat, high cortisol, social perception distorts, unpredictability increases. In threat mode, tone matters more than content. Attention fragments, signals get misread, emotional escalation substitutes for clarity, survival overrides truth. Institutions fail to protect the individual. This is incoherence, a state where emotion and logic operates as rivals rather than allies. The difference between coherent and incoherent societies is not ideology, it is neurophysiology. 2. Oxytocin, cortisol, and serotonin, the triad that regulate collective reality. Human groups synchronize through three major chemical rhythms. Oxytocin, the trust metronome. Oxytocin enables openness, bonding, collaborative cognition, accurate reading, and social signals, the ability to disagree without rupture. The societies high in oxytocin exhibit predictable norms, low emotional turbulence, high institutional compliance, strong procedural cultures. This describes European trust mode societies. Part 3. And then 2. Cortisol, the threat metronome. When cortisol is the dominant regulator, attention narrows, caution intensifies, suspicion increases, emotional tone becomes survival significant, rituals emerge to manage fear. This is the biochemical architecture behind the global south illusion loop. Fee-based synchronization, face-saving culture, ritualized politeness that hides aggression, cortisol-driven system synchronized through fear and appearance, not truth. 3rd, serotonin, the stability regulator. Serotonin stabilizes mood, impulse control, long-term planning, social hierarchy, perception, emotional interpretation. High serotonin ecosystem produce steady institutions, non-reactive public debate, long-term social investments. Low serotonin ecosystem produce volatile politics, short-term self-protection, disproportionate reaction to minor threats. Serotonin is the integrator that allows societies to maintain coherence under stress. Then third, fear-based synchronization is metabolically expensive. When fear, cortisol, becomes the synchronization device, every interaction costs more energy. People must constantly scan for danger, adjust tone, manage impression, guess intentions, maintain social armor, avoid offense, perform stability. This drains cognitive bandwidth, reactivity, creativity, institutional capacity, and because emotional regulation becomes constant work, so societies compensate with mythic optimism, ceremonial bureaucracy, overstated harmony, illusion loop. Fear-based systems survive, but they survive through exhaustion, not coherence. Fourth, trust-based synchronization is metabolically efficient. Trust mode societies is not waste energy regulating fear. The benefit compound. Honesty becomes the default. Low defensive cost. Disagreement becomes safe. Conflict does not imply rupture. Institution function as cognitive exoskeleton. People outsource complexity to stable rules. Emotional load is low. No need for ritual politeness or exaggerated respect displays. Cognitive bandwidth increases. People think forward instead of sideways. This creates an environment that feels sane, calm, predictable, and cooperative. The civilizational advantage is not IQ, it is fear regulation. Why coherence allows emotion and logic to work together. 5. The myth that societies must choose between emotion or logic collapses here. In trust mode, emotion becomes signal, logic becomes structure, both reinforces reality. Emotion calibrates social meaning, logic stabilizes interpretation. In threat mode, emotion becomes alarm, logic becomes a weapon, both destabilizes reality. Emotion misreads signal, logic reinforces defensive posturings. This is why coherent societies feel emotionally warm and logically structured at once. Emotion is not incoherence unless threat mode distorts it. 6. The key insight. Coherence is neurobiological luxury. A society can synchronize to coherence only when survival is predictable, institutions protect, social norms stabilize, the emotional environment is safe. In such ecosystem, people can afford honesty, nuance, slowness, patience, long-term thinking. Coherence is not a cultural choice, it is neurobiological state. The 7. The bridge to part 6. digital hypersynchronization. Part 5 establish the biological substrate of synchronization. Part 6 will show what happens when oxytocin regulated societies, cortisol regulated societies, and serotonin fragile societies are suddenly wired into the same global system. Algorithmic mimicry, emotional amplification, 24/7 fear signals, weaponized attention. Digital networks override local neurobiology. Threat mode becomes global. Fear spreads faster than trust. Coherence collapses into algorithmic panic. Part 6 explains how the digital era creates a planetary synchronization crisis.